When I joined the parliament in 2010, an election was pending here for the general elections, because I went to parliament through a by-election when parliament had only 6 months to retire, that what they got, the 9th parliament. So I went for another election in 2011. But during that period, I was able to see the misery of our people. First of all, we are living in a town located at a highway. And the traffic jam on this road is so big and heavy that these days it takes any car, if not given right of the way, 3 hours to drive from Mukono to Kampala. I looked at the other hospital, because as we speak now, Mukono district does not have even a single hospital belonging to the government of Uganda. The hospital that is near us is in Rugazi. Equally, if you are really taking a sick person, you need to speed up, because when it comes to health, every hour or minute lost can turn that incident into a fatal accident. I was so concerned when I would be invited to go and bury women dying in labor. It is quite very unfair for any person to die while bringing health, while bringing life in the world. It's very unfair. That's why we should do all within our capacity to save mothers. What they are doing is a great job, and we need to honor them. Not only honoring them, but also making sure that we give them facilities to assist them do that noble job God gave us. On that particular day, we had a meeting. One particular day, we had a meeting in Parliament. A teacher called Nambooze in Mbale had passed away during the labor. It became a very big case because of how that lady died. It did occur to me that suppose a woman is in a Mukono and can't deliver normally, how can we deliver her to the hospital quickly so that the lady and the baby are saved? With that heavy jam, the referral hospitals in Mulago, and then at times, even the husband or even that woman and her family who do not raise money to hire a special hire vehicle. So when they gave us 100 million shillings each to buy a car, a personal car, in 2011, I decided to split that money into two. So I bought myself a car, fairly good for me. And then the balance, I bought the ambulance. I bought the ambulance, costed 52 million. Our hope was that colleagues who are serving under the local government will come in to complement this effort by providing the vehicle with fuel and all enrolling the ambulance drivers, because they must be true. Because this is a job 24 hours. We are on the road saving lives. But those people who were at Mukono Municipal Council by then, the councillors especially, objected to that. I remember the mayor, Honorable Myanja Senyonga, had brought that matter as part of the proposals for the budget. But the councillors dismissed that proposal. And therefore what remained was that I would fund this ambulance, first of all, servicing and giving it new tires, paying the drivers, and then at times even paying medical fees for the person we have taken. Sometimes we take ladies going to deliver, but they don't even have a piece of cloth which they can use to wrap up their babies. So it has been so challenging financing that ambulance and keeping it on the road. But I'm so happy that it is now 10 years that we in Mukono provide to ourselves a community ambulance without break. So we have done this for the last 10 years and we are very happy. But this municipality is growing every other day. One time, the daughter of the late Kanakulia Banga got an accident in Nambooze. They called on the ambulance, but it had already left for Kampala to take another patient. Between that ambulance delivering a patient at Mulago and returning it to Nambooze to pick that the lady who was dying, she was the environmental officer from Mukono district. She had passed away. That is when I realized that maybe we need a second ambulance. So in 2016, when I went to Parliament, again they gave us 100 million to buy cars. And I did exactly the same thing, separating the money between buying a personal car and then buying an ambulance for the people of Mukono. Now one is permanently stationed at Goma and the other one is stationed in Mukono Central Division, and those ambulances are on call 24 hours. That gives me 4 people to pay the salaries of those 4 drivers. If I was to let you see my pay slip in Parliament, you will see that those people's names, I submitted those drivers' names to Parliament and authorized a monthly deduction from my salary to go straight to them on their bank accounts, because I thought that maybe if I decided to pay them casually, I might fail. At times I might fail, because for us members of Parliament, every other time you get somebody who is asking for assistance from you. So those 4 drivers were enrolled on my account in Parliament, and the salary that is given to me by the people of Mukono is shared between me and those drivers. The other thing is about washing that car. For every patient we take, the instructions, the health rules provide that for every patient we take, we must first clean, disinfect the car before we put in another patient. And it costs us 15,000 shillings to wash the ambulance. I was a councillor called Good Day. She now left. She lives in Sweden now. She's one person who turned over her allowances as a councillor to facilitate the washing of that ambulance. Unfortunately, but again good for her, she left Uganda, and I've not been able to attract any other person to join me in this charity action of ours. The outgoing mayor of Mukono campaigned with me in 2016 and told the people that he was going to fuel that car those cars, the 2 ambulances, he's going to fuel them. Because you see, at one time, a person is knocked by a car and that person cannot even talk. So how do you bring that person on board to pay for the fuel? Unfortunately, still, when Mr. Kajimu went to office, he walked back on that promise, and his term was expired now without him contributing anything towards that ambulance. He had even promised to buy a 3rd one. Mukono is densely populated. One of the challenges, it is good, we have so many schools here. And those schools really, keeping children, people's children, about, some schools have as much as 2,000 pupils. And you don't have an ambulance. They were suffering with emergencies. In fact, when you look at our books, you will see that we take, most of the time, we are called by schools when they have a case at school that needs urgent attention. And then we also have the factories. The law provides that every person who is running a factory would buy an ambulance to be on standby for his workers. But you see, it's not easy here in Uganda, and it is only UCU, Uganda Christian University, that has an ambulance. There is another ambulance in Chetume, but Chetume is outside Mukono. So these 2 ambulances serve even beyond the Mukono Municipality. For us, we are just called on. They say there is an accident in Mabila. Come and assist us take the sick. We don't ask whether there is anyone in that car who is from Mukono. We just go and save lives. The idea itself, I got it from Canada. Many years ago, there lived 3 young people in Canada who thought about the sick, and what they did, they got a stretcher, and then if anybody got sick and could not walk to hospital, they would put that person on the stretcher and run while lifting the patient. It was an act of very, very, very big importance. So eventually, these 3 boys bought an ambulance, and they named it Queen Mary Community Ambulance. So I read a lot about that initiative. Today they say the Queen Mary ambulances are the biggest community-based ambulance organization in the world. And I think for us, that is where we want also to go. So, in Uganda, I don't have a Queen Mary. Instead, I have Navagereka. And you see, we should appreciate the efforts by the Queen of Buganda in saving lives in issues related to maternal health. So I named our ambulance Navagereka Sylvia Najinda Community Ambulance. I have fuel to take at least 2 patients, because we just feel like every day we might get 2 patients who are not able to pay, to contribute, because the thing is cost sharing. The person we are taking pays for fuel, 50,000 shillings now. That's the cost sharing. Of course, for me, I pick all the other bills. But again, we have a petrol station there where I deposit money for fuel of at least 2 people every day, because anyway, you will find that mother, she has been referred to Mulago, but she says, assist me, ninawe mitwale ebiri. And then, even to remove that 20,000 from her to contribute towards fuel is very cruel and almost immoral. So, for such people, we deliver them without them paying. And we are doing this by the grace of the Lord. Interestingly, government refused to waive taxes of those ambulances. I had applied that, let the government waive the taxes, but they said no, unless when you register that one as a government vehicle. They have been pushing me around to register these ambulances as a property of the government. I've been reluctant for one reason. Not once, not twice, government has bought here ambulances. But when you put them in the hands of our workers, they misuse them. You find them at Kwanjula or at bars. So we said now, suppose these ambulances are mismanaged by the district. And then if the car belongs to the district, you have no way to stop it from going to other places of the district. So that would mean that I'm not targeting the people of Mukono Municipality. I'm targeting the people of Mukono Municipality because they are the ones who vote for me. They are my bosses. Maybe one day when I become the chairperson of Mukono district, maybe we shall sit and introduce this at a bigger scale. But for me, what I wanted was to grow this project for a start to be in every constituency in Uganda. The good thing is that so many people were touched by our action and they appreciated it. And it has now turned to be a must for every MP. People in constituencies nowadays demand from an MP an ambulance. So many of my colleagues since then have been coming to me to sensitize them, teach them on how I've been able to do it. Like this time around, we are going to buy a third ambulance, but we are going to buy 2 cars. I will not need a car this time. I have cars that are still motorable. So, for the money I will get in this parliament for my vehicles, I'm going to buy another ambulance so that they will be free, because Mukono is growing bigger. Each day. Too many people live here in Mukono. But even because sometimes at those constituencies where the MPs have not positively reacted to this good example, like Mukono North here, Honorable Yanja Senyonga bought an ambulance for Mukono South. But Honorable Bakaluba had also bought an ambulance for the same area. But when he was voted out, he took back his ambulance and parked it at his school there. I saw it parked there and almost neglected. Now that he has been voted the chairman of the district, I hope he will find it good and appropriate to return that ambulance to the people, and then us leaders in Mukono to sit and work out a formula that can assist the MPs with bills to do with this ambulance. Like I told you that I'm going to buy another ambulance to be free, but I'm also going to buy a funeral van. You know, the laws provide that nobody should bury the dead in a municipality. Most of the people here in my municipality are people who came from Eastern Uganda, basically, many of them from Eastern Uganda. Even those from Mukono here, we can no longer bury our dead just behind our homes as we used to do. So, what has been happening is that people are turned to be very cruel. One, they would go in hospitals and then steal patients and take them back to the village with an excuse that for us we shall not be able to carry the dead person home. So let's take him or her when she's still alive. That is very cruel. It's very bad. 2, others have been coming to me to ask for the ambulance to go and transport the dead bodies, especially for those who have delivered in hospitals. It is me who has delivered the sick person to Mulago, and then the next day, if that person passes away, the family expects me to return the body. But I thought that it would not be proper to use the ambulances sometime to carry dead people. First of all, it can be, spreading diseases is very easy that way. And then too, emotionally people will feel bad. A sick man will be reluctant to get into an ambulance, which he saw yesterday carrying a dead body. That is how we human beings behave. So we have now decided, looking at my constituency and its characteristics, like I've told you that Mukono is a town of travelers, I decided that this time around I will buy a funeral van to take the dead to their resting places, most of the time outside Mukono Municipality.